tell us what is keeping you busy nowadays. How many webinars are you doing every day?
Well, on average, one with you and one other. Normally, there are 2 per day, and sometimes 3. So you know the feeling. You've been doing the same, and I believe Dr. Kiran Bedi is coming in the evening today, speaking.
That is right. Dr. Kiran Bedi is going to be with us today evening. So we'll also, I think, send the link to the school. So we are live now, and it's 9:30. It's time to start the webinar. I would request Vandana ma'am to please. Yes, ma'am.
Before that, is it possible, because Dr. Prem is also there?
Okay.
Hello? Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, Dr. Prem is also there. Can there some arrangement be made that he also comes on the screen?
Yes. So, Kamal,
Dr. Prem Kumar.
Can he join in as an attendee, and we'll if you can join as an attendee, we'll then upgrade him as a panelist. If you can ask.
Is he watching the show right now? Is he watching the show right now?
Yeah, he's already there. He's already there.
Just give me one second.
Kamal, if you could upgrade Dr. Prem. Yes.
Dr. Prem Kumar, you must.
Yes, Vivek, Dr. Kiran Bedi today is speaking. Hopefully, would love if you can also be there. It'll be lovely. So I'll separately speak to you about it. I think she served the UT police cadre.
Yeah, she had a short stint in Chandigarh.
So are we live now?
Or we are live. We are live, ma'am.
So should we start?
So we are live now. Ahead. Dr. Prem Kumar would be joining.
Okay, Dr. Prem Kumar is joining.
He is there with us. I can see Dr. Prem Kumar. So Vandana ma'am, why don't you start and then we'll take over. Over to you.
Right. Good morning, Dr. Saab. Good morning, Dr. Prem. So good morning, everyone, all my teachers, and you all would be very, very happy to know that we have 2 great personalities with us today, Mr. Vivek Atray and Professor Atul Khosla, both from, I think you call it as Shoolini University.
That is right.
Shoolini, am I right? That's the right pronunciation?
You are perfect.
Okay. So on behalf of Dr. Prem Kumar, who is the manager of our school, and he's the former Vice Chancellor of GNA University, and on behalf of my BCM family, I welcome both of you. And for my team, this is an information. Mr. Vivek Atray, former IAS officer, a motivational speaker, an author, a visiting professor and advisor with this university, and a former under-19 cricketer. And Vivek writes a column for Hindustan Times and has over 2 million viewers on YouTube for his motivational talks. He has 8 TEDx talks to his credit. Wow, what a versatile personality. Mr. Atray, you are very, very welcome with our team. And Professor Atul Khosla is the founder, president, and pro-vice chancellor of Shoolini University. He's an entrepreneur, educationist, and management consultant. Atul started his career with McKinsey. In the last 25 years as consultant, he has advised clients in India, Asia, North America, Europe, and Australia. He has done his BTech from IIT Kanpur and MBA from JBIMS. We are so delighted to have both of you with us, and I feel my team is blessed would be listening from you. Thank you so much for sparing your time. And of course, there are few teachers from other sister concerns also. I welcome all of them to the session. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana ma'am. Good morning, teachers. Good morning, Dr. Prem Kumar. Good morning, Vandana ma'am. Good morning, Vivek. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's a pleasure for 2 reasons for me. First of all, speaking to anyone from Ludhiana is huge excitement. As we were discussing, Vandana ma'am, I have very, very fond memories of Ludhiana. My father grew up in Ludhiana. and we have roots from Ludhiana. So that's the first one. The second, I think, is also because this is the 50th session of Ideas That Matter. Vivek and I started Ideas That Matter around 8 to 9 weeks ago. And it started very small. The idea was to inspire teachers, talk to them, get inspired ourselves, with the aspiration that we could inspire students in the process. We are delighted to say that we have now done 50 such webinars. We do it every day. We have touched 40,000 teachers and more than 50,000 students so far. And what could be a more delight than having this wonderful session with this beautiful school in Ludhiana, and this is our 50th session. So once again, Vivek, thank you very much. Vivek is a very dear friend, of course, an IAS officer, the architect of the IT Park of Chandigarh, but for me, most importantly, a professor advisor to Shoolini University. You all know my background. I just would like to add that around 7 to 8 years ago, I had a little bit of enlightenment, and the enlightenment was not to make rich people richer anymore. And I decided to become a teacher. I'm a very proud teacher. I love to speak. I sometimes joke, I have no money, but I've never been happier. And I think that must be true for all of you. That's definitely true for my family. I come from a family of teachers, starting from my grandparents to my parents, who were all teachers. So wonderful, wonderful. Welcome once again to all of you. Dr. Prem Kumar, Vandana ma'am, thanks for giving the opportunity. We'll talk about self-awareness. Vivek is a guru for that. The format will be that Vivek and I will take around 35 odd minutes. And we'll then request all of you to please keep asking questions. There are two buttons below. There's a chat and there's a Q&A. Just don't hesitate to put your views or ask questions, and we'll be delighted to answer them. Vivek, over to you.
Hi, Atul. Can I take a minute?
Absolutely, Dr. Saab. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Vivek, I have a fond memory. If you remember, we were together on the knowledge management series at DAV College.
That's right. That's right. That's right, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
And, I was also I built the Bara University Waknaghat, and I worked with Mr. S.P. Oswal. Mr. Prem, who hails from Ludhiana, was the vice chancellor those days of the university at Solan. And when I was in Waknaghat, I visited Shoolini University a couple of times. In fact, I am also the founder of the Punjab Commerce and Management Association, and we were trying to work out a residential research methodology program for teachers at Shoolini. Ultimately, we shifted it to Bara University. I later built the BML Munjal University and GNA University. So Vivek, very nice touching base again. I remember you were in Ludhiana. I missed meeting you at the LMA when you were in Ludhiana last. And Atul, I have always known you through Mr. S.P. Oswal and Mr. Prem Khosla. It is a pleasure to see you again. When I worked with Vardhaman long time, 15, 16 years with Mr. Oswal as head of the strategy. And he would often share with me the association with Mr. Prem Khosla. Thank you very much. It's good to be with you. Thank you. Over to you, Vivek, yours.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful words, Prem Kumar, sir. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prem Kumar and Vandana ma'am, for that warm welcome. And it is wonderful to connect again with you, Dr. Prem Kumar, and I look forward to meeting you again in the future. And Vandana ma'am, thank you for the very bright welcome. And Professor Atul Khosla and I are good friends, as he said. I am visiting professor and also advisor to Shoolini University after taking voluntary retirement from IAS 2.5 years ago. I became a motivational speaker and I travel all over India. And with Shoolini, I have a special bond, and we have done about 50 webinars. As Atul said, this is the 50th webinar of this series. Every day in the morning or afternoon, or sometimes both times of the day, we connect with schools and teachers, and I see about 196 or now nearing 200 teachers or participants in this call, in this webinar. So it's wonderful that all of us are here together and we can share some ideas and thoughts and inspire each other by our presence and our ideas. Atul Khosla will join me later and add his ideas and also show a film on Shoolini. It is my duty now to talk about success and what is success and how do we find success. That is the topic of the day. And I feel that all of us know that the goal of life is actually not success, but it is happiness. Happiness is the goal of life. And if we are successful but not happy, then it is incomplete success. And if we are happy but not successful, it is still better. I know the story I will start with is that story of a villager who was sitting and fishing at a pond, and a rich businessman came and asked him, he says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm just sitting, relaxing, fishing." He says, "Why don't you expand your business? Why don't you start marketing? Why don't you start tie-ups? Why don't you go to the neighboring cities and do this, do that, and you'll become a richer man? And then you can relax and sit under the cool breeze and just take it easy. You'll have lots of money." He says, "But that's what I'm doing now. I'm relaxing and sitting coolly and I don't need the money." So the thing in life is that we often place too much credence and importance and give too much weightage to things which do not matter. And we often neglect those things that matter. So if we look at what really matters in life, what really matters is the inner peace, the joy, the family time, the time with loved ones, and those little moments of smiles and joy and happiness and laughter together. These are things which we neglect because we are busy people, we are on the treadmill of life, and we are in a busy city like Delhi, Chandigarh, or Ludhiana, and we have no time. So this lockdown has given us time to think, ponder, and reflect. And earlier we were never with time to think and ponder because our phones, our technology, our families, our work, our transit, our commuting from here to there keeps us very, very occupied. And if you look at it, the battle of life is being fought in the mind. And our minds are where we lose the battle at times and we win the battle at other times. When we are restless or irritated or moody or angry, I'll repeat that. When we are restless, irritated, moody, or angry, it means we are losing the battle of life. If we are happy, content with whatever we have, we are successful in life. So the battle of the mind is where we have to concentrate and try to win that battle by being calm and collected and content. If we do that, if we focus on contentment, then we will feel that whatever we have is good enough to make us happy. Of course, young students who you teach, they will obviously have to aspire and be ambitious for great achievements in life, work hard, study hard, get good marks, get a good placement, get a good position, and become comfortable and well placed in life. All of us have to do that and try and aspire for better achievements. But there are so many things which really don't matter and we give them too much focus. And I often say that life is not about marks. Life is about making a mark. Now, making a mark in life is so important because we are basically to try and make an impact and lead to happiness of others and our own selves. And that impact will really give us a lot of satisfaction. So we should really take care that our attitude to life is such that we are cheerful, we are good company for others, and we add value to others' lives. That is a sign of a truly successful person. And that success, that feeling of success actually comes from within. It doesn't come from the car which is standing outside or the house we live in or the money we have in the bank or wherever. It is not there that happiness comes from. These are transitory, temporary, transient kinds of things. And we really need to work on our inner battle. That is the battle of the mind. We often watch Mahabharata nowadays. It is coming on television. And you know, the Mahabharata is actually taking place in our mind every day. And Paramahansa Yogananda, who is also celebrated by Shoolini University with a wonderful library and also a wheel, Yogananda Library and Yogananda Wheel at the Shoolini campus. He said that the battle of life is being fought inside us. Kurukshetra is within us. All the characters of Mahabharata are actually inside us. So we have tendencies of various kinds, which are the characters of the Mahabharata. Some are the Kaurav tendencies and some are the Pandav tendencies. Sometimes in our mind, unfortunately, the Kauravas win and sometimes the Pandavas win. But ultimately, the Pandavas have to win and we have to win the battle of life. So what is all this? Why am I talking about all this? Because success for a teacher, for a student, for an administrator, ultimately depends on how cheerful, happy from within that person is. I'll come back to some more points in a little while. I think Atul is ready with his interventions and his film on Aman, who is a beautiful girl who teaches a student at Shoolini, and who has done wonderful research work under the guidance of the university to become a world beater in her field. Over to you, Atul.
Vivek, thank you very much. Like I always say, inspiring as always. I sometimes wonder why I get goose pimples listening to you, but I think it's your charm and your amazing, amazing insights. I think before I get into my story of Aman and the story of creativity and thinking outside the box, I want to tease all of you a little bit. You know, Vandana ma'am and we were talking about the weather at Solan, and Prem sir was also in Simla for a while, I hear. So I'm sure he's got some nostalgia around being in the mountains. So I'm going to show a small clip of Shoolini, and I took this a couple of days back. So we'll just give you a sense about how beautiful it is out here. So just wanted to do that, if you allow me, Vivek, and we'll then get into the discussion.
Please.
Here we go. Thank you, Vivek. I think the one word which I wanted to leave behind to all of you when it comes to success, when it comes to happiness within, is the word inspiration. I think inspiration can change lives, and that's what we teachers do every day. I always, when I speak to my teachers, I always tell them it's easy to make extraordinary students very successful. The real trick and the real excitement is to make ordinary students extraordinary, ordinary students world beaters. And I think that's the passion, and that can happen through inspiration. Inspiration can be driven through creativity, can be driven by making people think outside the box, by demonstrating exemplary leadership, by collaboration, and many similar soft tools, as we call it, Vivek. So I wanted to bring an example of, a case example of Aman over here. Aman did her BTech and Masters at Shoolini and then joined her PhD program. Aman comes from a lesser privileged family. She comes from Punjab, actually, a village very, very close to Ludhiana. Was a bit of a troubled student, and you all understand what I mean by that. She had challenges in her undergrad and masters, but some magic happened in her PhD. She's done some amazing work. She's discovered a molecule which, when added to water, kills bacterial activity by 99.9%. Based on her work, she's been awarded the Young Water Fellow. It's a UN fellowship. More than 100,000 researchers across the world apply for this. So she won it. She spent 6 months in Geneva as part of it. She's also got a 25 lakh award from Tata Sons. It's absolutely pathbreaking what she has done. Who knows, she might even win the Nobel Prize, Vivek. So I'd like to show one small video on Aman, what she has done, before we get into the next part of the discussion. Am I allowed, Vivek, for this?
Sure, please.
Okay. Here you go. So Vivek, there is no bigger success, there is no better happiness for a teacher than to see their students succeed. I think all of you students are great and doing a wonderful job. You're all Corona warriors. And that's true for all teachers across the country, at least. You have made sure that all our students are inspired. You've made sure that not a single day of learning is lost. What a phenomenal change that all of you did. What a phenomenal step up that all of you did. And I'm sure while it's difficult, it gives you happiness when you sleep. Aman is a success story. She makes me very, very delighted. And there are many, many more such stories at Shoolini, Vivek. And we're always so, so proud of these wonderful students who in the conventional sense might not have been world beaters, but they've done such amazing stuff that over life, over the years, they will be wonderfully successful. Vivek, over to you, and I'll come back towards the end.
Thank you, Atul. Lovely, inspiring videos and wonderful story of Aman. So teachers, there are more than 200 people here. All of us are eager to do well in life. All of us are eager to be successful and make our students successful and institutions successful. All of us are working for a cause of education. And in education, you are nurturing personalities. One of the things that I would like to request you is to make them read more books. Books are something which are going out of fashion in many ways because of mobile phones and technology. I am also a technologist in many ways. I'm an electronics engineer, but I'm also a writer. And I like to encourage youngsters to read books to be more successful. Why? Because I can make out in a gathering or a dinner or a conference that this boy or this girl who is speaking has read many more books than the others. A book reader is always more successful, has more knowledge, more personality points, and also is calmer and more, deep in his knowledge or whatever insights. I'm going to just give you the example of a couple of books. This I mentioned, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. It is a global book. It is not a religious book, it's a spiritual book. And it is something which I have found, and Atul also, and his family, that we feel that the teachings of Yogananda ji have really, really changed our lives. He died in 1952, but he wrote this glorious book and many other little booklets and lessons. And this is another one, Why God Permits Evil and How to Rise Above It. So there are so many examples of little books or booklets which students can read. They can read autobiographies of inspiring personalities. They can even read fiction by great authors, Agatha Christie, P.G. Wodehouse. We used to read them while growing up. I became a writer because I used to read. And without reading, now I write a column in the Hindustan Times every fortnight. It will be coming on Sunday. And I have written a book called Finding Success Within. It's my third book. This book is why the topic of today is also finding success within. Now, 52 life skills for young Indians I mentioned in this book. It is available on Amazon. My point to you is that success comes from within. It doesn't come from external factors. And that success coming from within means that that attitude and personality which we have, that is what determines our success. If we are a complaining, cribbing kind of person, complaining about this and that all the time, we are not successful, I'm afraid. We may be the richest, we may be the most powerful, but if we are always crying about something or the other, that is not success. You must pause for a moment to think about what happened yesterday or day before yesterday. At the China border, India lost 20 army men, including a colonel. We lost 20 soldiers. And after that, a Bihar-based gentleman who lost his son, one of the boys, one of the army soldiers was his son. This Bihar gentleman has been portrayed on video. Yesterday I saw it. Only in 30 seconds, not even 30, in 10 seconds, he says, I lost my son. He gave his life for the country. I have 2 grandsons. I am going to send them now to the army. They will also lay down, they will also do their best for the country. So this man, by his simple ways, has shown the meaning of success. His mind is calm. He's lost his son, but he is able to handle even such a big tragedy and say such a positive thing that I will send my grandsons now. So these kinds of people are the people who have actually won the battle of life. They have conquered that fear. They have conquered that worry. What is fear and worry? Fear and worry is often the making of our mind. Our mind is our greatest friend and greatest enemy also. So Paramahansa Yogananda said, carry a portable paradise within you, wherever you go. That means that we should basically be calm and cool and collected wherever we go. And also I would like to say that this kind of feeling of being, even despite problems and worries which we all have, if we are able to maintain a balance and coolness, that is something unbelievable. And 2 types of people are there, the worrier and the warrior. The worrier is someone who will worry even when nothing is going wrong. And the warrior is someone who will not worry even when things are going wrong. And Edmund Hillary, who conquered Mount Everest, he said, I didn't conquer the mountain. I conquered myself. That means he conquered his own inhibitions and worries of fears that were pulling him back. So if we can train our students to let go of their fear and be more creative, they will be more successful, more achieving in life, and they will maybe become entrepreneurs, maybe get great jobs, maybe get great placements, or become great, maybe even they form some charitable organizations which help society. There are so many ways in which people can be successful outwardly as well as within, but ultimately the battle is within. Now let's look at the life of a teacher before I pass on to Atul in a while. The life of a teacher is a life of a lot of things happening. You look after your children, you look after your home, you look after your students, and you go to school, you come back, you teach. There are so many things to be taken care of, and you are so busy. You have no time for yourself. So it is important to take out time while the journey is in progress. We cannot wait for retirement before starting to meditate or read books or be looking after our own interests. If you wanted to learn music, or you wanted to improve your whatever craft or painting or whatever you love, writing skills, poetry skills, this is the time. While you are busy, have to take out half an hour a day or take out time on a Sunday or Saturday and do it. I know that most of you are also busy with online classes. Atul will talk about them, and they are also a part of your life now. However, those who can prioritize, those who can manage their time better, those who can find half an hour, 45 minutes for their own creative self will be more successful. So success, to put it in a nutshell, success is basically about doing your job dedicatedly, spreading happiness to others, feeling content and peaceful from within. A teacher who earns goodwill after 35 years of teaching has been successful in life, because that teacher is not the richest man in the world or richest lady in the world, but he's respected by hundreds of students who have been taught by that teacher. That is success. What else is success? What is the point of becoming the president of the United States if you don't have respect? There has to be respect in whatever you do. So respect is more important, goodwill is more important than power and authority. That is one of the reasons why I resigned from the IAS. I'm loving my second innings. It is something that I'm absolutely delighted with, and I like to spread these joys. I am also on YouTube, as Atul said. I have 2 million views on YouTube. Vanda ma'am also said, you can watch my talks and show your youngsters these talks, and also read this book, Finding Success Within. Thank you for listening, and over to you, Atul Khosla.
Thank you, Vivek. I can so associate with this. My Nana, he studied at St. Stephen's, and he was then sent by his family, which was a very rich family from Haryana, to do a barrister degree from London. He ran away from there. He actually ended up becoming a teacher in a village in Himachal. And I've never, ever seen a more content person than him. Of course, the poor man is not with us anymore. But what a lovely man he had, and the type of respect he had. There was a time when half of Himachal's cabinet was a student, and they would come over to meet him and touch his feet. What amazing success. Coming back to success, and I've been following success through research in a very sizable way, Vivek. There's a lot of studies done by the Harvard Business School at the moment, which talk about what makes people successful. So the historical thought about success was, you're successful, you become happy. Success was driven by recognition and also by money. And traditionally, we were told, you have money, you have recognition, you'll be successful. The world has changed. We now know that people who are successful people who are happy have more chances to succeed. So happiness is the most critical key. Happiness is also very, very critical to us at Shoolini, Vivek. It's now part of our mission, where we have written it down that we try to bring happiness to every Shoolinian or every person who touches Shoolini University. Because we know that if people are happy, they will be successful. And that's what even the research at Harvard Business School says. The second thing I'll also try to bring around is support of family and loneliness. So typically it's also seen that through research again by Harvard, and they have sort of tracked 3 generations of successful people, that individuals who had a huge amount of community support, friend support, and family support had a 80% higher probability of being successful than someone who was a loner. Also, they had a higher chance of being in the 80s and being healthy in the 80s than someone who was being a loner. So if you do not like mixing with friends and you don't have great family support, please reach out to your brothers, sisters, family, cousins, and make sure that they give the support to you, you give your support to your family, and make each other successful. So Vivek, success and happiness are great topics. They go hand in hand. And my last parting thoughts would be a dialogue from a movie called Anand. If you remember, where Rajesh Khanna says, हमारी सबकी problem पता क्या है कि हम आने वाले गम की सोच में आज की खुशी को खो देते हैं. I think we all have to live in the now, and we live in the now, we'll be happy. And if we're happy, we'll be successful. Vivek, your last thoughts.
Yes, Atul, I totally agree. Anand is my favorite childhood film. And also what you've said about the teacher and your Nana's example. I mean, there is, as I said, teachers, you are underrated in your own minds, and people don't give that much of weightage to the teaching profession. I think you must find happiness, contentment in that respect and goodwill which you earn through your teaching careers. And you should be inspired every day when you're going to school to teach. I'm sure you will be back in school later this year in a couple of months or whatever, maybe in July, August, September. Whenever you are back, you will feel that Josh. Even now, sitting in front of a camera, whenever you're teaching, try and feel that inspiration. As Atul also mentioned, it is very, very important. And as I said, that we can connect later also. We can be in touch. We can do many more sessions like this. But I think, Atul, we have to take some Q&A.
Absolutely. I think we already have Suruchi ma'am. She's asked some questions. We'll pick them up. What I'll request other attendees is please ask the questions or just comment. You can do it on Q&A or on chat. I'll also at this juncture request Vandana ma'am and Prem Kumar sir to please join us, and we'll get into the Q&A. So as the questions keep pouring in, Vivek, as you were talking, one thought came to my mind, which I wanted to really ask you. Actually, two questions. First is, you left the IAS. It's a very, very big thing. People will die for getting to the IAS, and you sort of left it. So do you have any regrets ever? That's my first question. And my second question is, for the teachers, it's such a difficult time for them right now. Apart from, going online, they have to sort of juggle lots of different things. They have to juggle their they have to juggle their household. They have to juggle their the children, their husbands or wives, daughters, mother-in-laws, mothers. How do they do that? How do you take away from the stress? So these two questions, and then we'll get into, Q&A from the teachers over here.
Absolutely, Atul, you're absolutely right. The parameters of success that the world defines are, normally what people follow. I know that being in the IAS was a great career, and I loved my career. I was very happy when I was there. But somehow I felt that now is the time to be more creative, to give back to society by motivation, inspiration. And I have not regretted it even for a moment. I may have regretted it had things changed for me drastically, but I must confess that I call up my friends if I need something. I have a recommendation, as you know, in our society we have often. And it basically the warmth is the same, and I just I don't feel as if I have left any community. I feel a part of it. And I don't have the duties that I had to do. So in this crisis, for example, IAS officers and other officers have been driven to the ground in the way that they have had to work so hard. So here we are inspiring people and not having to go through the grind. I think it's a delightful way to be. Secondly, you rightly said that the teachers have so much work nowadays, and even otherwise, it is difficult for them to take out time for themselves. They have to prioritize, as I said, and we've discussed it earlier. Somehow you have to reduce those time-wasting things which you feel in your day are taking up time and not required. That's the only way you can spend more time with the family or with yourself. And meditation. Meditation is something we haven't really talked about, but it really, really helps everybody of any age group. I meditate, Atul meditates every morning and evening, and that really makes us calmer and more cheerful for the everything. And it's a spiritual duty. Take care of our soul apart from only body and mind. So teachers, please get into meditation for half an hour or 20 minutes. If you don't do it, that is also very helpful. Take out time from maybe something that you are doing which is not required in your day. Just take out a bit of half an hour or 45 minutes extra, and you'll find that you will go back to your job and work much more energized if you do that.
So one of the things, Vivek, I'm doing on prioritizing is I've stopped watching the news. Nowadays, the only two things on the news, it's either Corona or China, and both of them are not very positive.
Sushant, of course, which is again very, very
important. Which is, of course, very depressing. So I think we'll get into Q&A. We've got Suruchi ma'am. She's asking a question that there's so much peer pressure nowadays. So how do we, students are reacting to this peer pressure. So how do we sort of manage this peer pressure with the students?
Yeah.
So first request Vivek, then I'll pass it over to Prem Kumar sir, because I think as an academician, he's got lots and lots of experience.
Sure.
So yeah, Vivek.
I totally agree. There's so much of pressure, peer pressure, competition pressure. This is one of the reasons why I became a motivational speaker, because I realized that these youngsters are under more pressure than any generation before them. So much social media pressure, peer pressure, expectation by parents. So they are breaking under this pressure. What we can do is to tell them that, as I said, that you are not a topper, and if you are not a topper, life is still going to be happy and successful. You can make a mark. That is something which we need to change their mindset from. If they are thinking that without IIT, I will be a failure in life, that is not the way to be. I mean, I know Atul is from IIT, I am from NIT, and somebody else may not even get into IIT, NIT or anything. Still, they can be successful. And there are ways to be successful in life which are totally unique nowadays. There's so many things, so many avenues which were not there earlier. So I think we need to counsel them one by one and in collective gatherings as much as possible. Then we can do so.
Your thoughts on this, Prem sir?
Dr. Prem Kumar.
You're muted, sir.
Unmute kar lijiye, sir. You are on mute.
We can pass on to the next question.
Okay,
because,
we can actually go
I
to
think, I think there is a connection problem because it's still
he's stuck right now. Okay,
yes,
that's right. That's
yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Next question.
Let's go to the question on technology.
That is again by
probably,
Suruchi,
ma'am, you might want to pick this up. That's right. So, Vandana, ma'am, what are your thoughts on how do we make students play games?
Absolutely, I won't pick any question because I keep talking to them. They already know, whatever is going on in my mind. I would like definitely to both of you to address their problems, at least for today.
Sure.
Okay, Vivek.
So this is how. So it is on technology, that because in this world of technology, students are less involved in sports activities. So how to motivate them that they make a routine, as you were talking about the meditation also and some other outdoor activities specifically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, people are so much, young people are so much into social media and wedded to their phones in a way. Sports will make them actually sleep on time and spend less time at night with their smartphones and sleep early. So sports also releases endorphins. Sports makes them fit. Outdoor sports has to be inculcated right from the beginning. Even now, when it's extremely hot, I remember as boys we used to play cricket matches at 7 in the morning, and so 6:30 or 7 you can start playing. By 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you've had a good outing. I think it's very important that even in these days when school is not on, all the children are encouraged to go to sports. Show them inspiring films of Federer, Djokovic, Virat Kohli, Tendulkar, PV Sindhu, or Sakshi Malik, or Sania Mirza. Keep inspiring them with sports, and then they will find it, motivating.
So one of the things, Vivek, we are experimenting with at Shoolini is, we are trying to bring in yoga, meditation, and sports as at least one credit course, either in the first year or the second year. We think it's very, very critical that we go back to our roots. We also think it's very, very critical that students are encouraged to do things, not just sports, do theater. We have started a program on theater at Shoolini. So it's all about occupying the busy mind of the students. You don't occupy it. If you only try to push studies into it, they'll of course then get digressed into other things. So that's, I think, getting them involved in something that they love. Need not be sports. It could be any particular area. A lot of students love doing social work, for example, Vivek. They work with the villages, etc. So there's one question from Nina ma'am. She's asking, I think that's something I'll pick up. How do you get admission at Shoolini? Ma'am, you have to take an exam and an interview. I don't know which program you're looking at, but just leave your details on our website and someone will get in touch with you and guide you. So just drop a lead over there and I'll make sure that that happens. So let's go to the Q&A, Vivek.
Yes,
I think there's 7-8 questions.
There's a question on, we find it difficult to prioritize and forget what is required for self-improvement. Please guide how to make practical time. So practically, you have to first of all list down what do you do in the day. And if you have 12 or 14 things you do, let us say spending time talking on the phone is one of them. You might not realize, but you spend 1.5 hours on the phone or 2 hours on the phone every day, supposing. Then that half an hour conversation you had with a friend, or every day you gossip about something, maybe, I'm not saying you do, but there is some way to cut down on these. I am I'm very conscious of my phone time whenever I speak. I never have conversations which are more than 10 minutes, and I try to keep things to the point. And it is very important for me. It has been in my career as well, and for every one of us. Cut down wherever you can like that. Find out where you're wasting time. Read a book on the bus or a train or wherever you go for transit. So make ways in which you can improve your life while doing what you're doing. You have to think hard about it.
Simi ma'am is asking, Vivek, how can we make students realize where they're unique? So what's your sense on that? You've worked with lots and lots of people across different age groups. How do you do that?
Yeah, so we have to make them realize their potential. It is important for us to, first of all, you know, what happens in a group of 40 students, it is difficult to find out everybody. I am in great favor of at least one little session with teachers individually with the kids, and one by one when the teachers meet the kids, that also helps them a lot. Group activities also help to discover their talents, and maybe 5 or 6 students in one group come up with some project or some report or some debate can be there. You know, that will also help to bring out their personalities. And these activities can also be done online. But whenever you're back to school, they can definitely be done.
So Simi ma'am, you know, the way I can tell you from my life, and I'm sure that's true for you too, just expose them to different activities, and then it's like love. You know when you fall in love, you know when you love something, it just happens. I think as teachers, we should then encourage that love. We should encourage that romance. The moment it blooms, it'll become into something very, very beautiful. I think the challenge is, and it's a lot with parents also, and sometimes you as teachers can't really help it because parents want their sons and daughters to become doctors, engineers, and to have traditional careers. So I think you can try to convince the students, but of course you have a Lakshman Rekha somewhere. You can't cross that line. I'm sure that's very difficult. How to take failures gracefully, Vivek? I'm sure there are lots of them you've had.
Yeah, so everyone has failures, everyone has setbacks in life, and some people bounce back and other people they break. So there's a saying that some people break down and others break records. So if you have adversity in your life, it is an opportunity to learn from and bounce back. All of us who are experienced, Dr. Prem Kumar, Vandana ma'am, Atul, we are on this panel, Kamal is there. We have all probably gone through ups and downs. And yet we have come back stronger because we have tried to learn from our failures. And then only you have to be determined and resilient from within and look for the positives.
Can I add a note? I lost the connection in between.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, uneven connection. First of all, I wish to congratulate Atul. I have been reading about the path-breaking work that Shoolini is doing. In my time, you had just started and were cutting teeth at the university, but you have traveled a long distance, and I think you are set to do big impact initiatives in the future. I'm very happy to see Shoolini finding its mojo, as we call it. One. Two, about the series of questions, the education is a churn in a big way. So we have 2 or 3 issues. One, what is it that we are doing with our children? A lot of academicians are now realizing that we are probably suppressing the creativity of the children. And the purpose of education is not to suppress the creativity of the children. The purpose of education is actually to kindle the creativity of the child. In a NASA study, Vivek would be aware, a 3-year child was found to be more creative than a 10th pass student. So I think all of the teachers attending here have to first realize it is not teaching. It is something which I have been preaching all my life, that the task of a teacher is not to teach. And many people would laugh sometimes. I say, your task is actually to facilitate learning. You have to open the mind rather than put things in the mind and then close it with a lid. So I think there is a major need, the need for a paradigm shift, as I would call it, in taking engagement with the student from teaching a curriculum to opening the mind, and as Atul said, inspiring maybe to explore things on your own. And then somewhere when you are stuck up, as Vivek said, you are often stuck up in your life, facilitate this. And for this, a very intimate relationship as a mentor is required. That the mentoring system in our schools particularly, and even colleges and universities, actually very weak. I would, Atul and Vivek, very strongly say, now I realize that when I was trying to discover things, if I had a strong mentor, anything could be possible. Just because there was nobody that you could go to, and you are tinkering all your life, hit and trial, and you reach somewhere in life, that is a path which happened. But if you have that mentoring support, that can happen. A lot more can happen. And our society is actually, we are in the 21st century, which is the century of knowledge. And today, institutions like Shoolini should be at the heart of the society. They are sitting on the side of the society and watching what is happening. And often the other sectors of the society, wealth creating sectors, for example, the industry and the businesses, they and the institutions are on the silos and they rarely talk to each other. I feel I visit a lot of universities abroad and I see a very intimate relationship. When we were designing Bara University Shimla, I thought it's a university which is networked very well with all walks of life, whether it is social work or education or schools in Punjab University. I established a center for school integration for Atul's knowledge. Maybe this helps. If the university gets integrated with the school, Wharton has such a center. One last thought is the question that was when Vivek asked me to come in and I lost the connection. The pressures. See, there's a story, small story. So there's a woodcutter, he cuts a certain number of trees every day. There's another cutter who comes in and he's able to cut far more, many times more. And this guy is very frustrated. So he asked the other one, what do you do? And he said, I sharpen the wood from time to time. So that is what is required for the teacher. You have mind, body and soul. And unfortunately, most of us, both of you have very strong connection with the soul, I can see. But most of us are mind, most of our body, large body, less mind and no soul. So if you can somehow connect body, mind and soul, I think a lot of peer pressure would go. And as Atul said, the tool is meditation, contemplation, reflection, and continuous renewal of your physical, mental, and spiritual energies. I think that integration is very important to be able to do larger things in life. Thank you very much, both.
Very, very well said, Prem sir. I mean, we'll definitely implement some of the things that you've mentioned. I think we are, but there's always more to do. I think, mentor-mentee, I will just mention one thing, I think, for the teachers over here. I encourage also my students to find their own role models and mentors. The process need not always be from the teacher side and forced. Sometimes it should be from the student side. So we need to make them self-aware about the ability to find a mentor or a role model. You can be an Aklavya and actually still become and compete with Arjun. So I think that's also an important point of teaching, man, that students should say, okay, that's my role model. Vivek is my role model. I need not have him interacting with me every day because I'm not in touch, but I view him every day and I would like to be like him because he excites me, inspires me, etc. So Simple Ma'am is asking a very interesting question, Vivek. Is self-satisfaction not like escapism?
Yeah, so I read that question and I was thinking about it. It's a very philosophical question, but I don't agree with it. Actually, self-satisfaction means, basically, to put it another way, is contentment. Unless you are content with what you have and what you do, you cannot find peace. Of course, you have to be ambitious and move on and be, doing more and better in life. But at every level, you have to find some level of gratefulness for what you have. And once you are grateful for what you have and you are comfortable with what you have, then that is not going to be negative at all. Another way to look at it is that if you are doing something for your own contentment and happiness, it is not escaping from other things. It is basically that you are balanced, you're looking after yourself as well as looking after your family. And if you sometimes, the quote is that if you lose consciousness of yourself in service to others, then you are living a life which is exemplary. It's very difficult for us to be like that. But I really like what Dr. Prem Kumar said about the soul, and creativity and the soul are also linked. Because when we bring out the creativity in a person, it is actually a soul quality, not only a mind quality. So Atul, should we go to the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Archana ma'am is asking, there's a lot of pressure on students from parents and relatives. What can a teacher do? In fact, I'd love to bring in Vandana ma'am over here. I'd love to hear this answer from her. What do we do?
What is the question? Which question you are talking about?
Archana ma'am has got a question, ma'am. She's asking lots of pressure on students from parents and relatives. So what should a teacher or a school do?
When we were talking about success and failure, at that time also I was about to say that it is more than teachers, more than students, it's the parents who are pressurizing the children. They are not understanding this, that they don't have to prepare their children only for success. Failure needs to be taught. There are so many movies which have come up. We have encouraged the parents, to watch that, to follow. On PTMs also, we keep telling them, but somewhere that competition, like my child has to be the best 90% and this and that. So, and not only that, not only in academics, my child has to be best in all kind of activities. That those comparisons have come, and that has actually ruined the creativity of the child. As Dr. Prem was saying, that it is very important, because we are forcing them to the areas, our ambitions which were left, and we want to force them onto our children. And children are not at all interested in that. So these are some of the things which are putting a lot of pressure on the parents. So we actually, the talks that we are having with the teachers and all, these are required with the parents also. If I say parents, that means the complete society needs to change its mindset, that failure is, as it's not only failure is okay, it's not only that, rather we should learn from that. We should always learn from our mistakes, and then we need to make sure that we don't commit the mistakes further. Yes. It is very important to teach the parents also. There should definitely be a school for the parents too these days, because it's not, I don't say that it is their fault, because their parents were like that, but time has changed. Time has changed. Teachers have accepted. Society has yet to accept. This is what I feel.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we try to do again at Shoolini is expose them to people who are successful in the non-conventional sense.
Yes.
So the more people you can bring in, and your own students, for example, who've been successful, then other students say, oh, if he can be a musician and I am interested, then I can also be like that. So that's one thing, Vivek, that we try to do. There are too many engineers and doctors around.
During this lockdown period, we took this opportunity that we invited our alumni. So then when we were inviting our alumni, one of our students who was not at all good in studies at that time, but right now he's in New Zealand and he's there in the football team there. So we invited that person also, and he talked about it, and the students were very, very, very happy about that.
Lovely. And I think Three Idiots, of course, is a great movie. So I'll go a little fast now, Vivek. I think we've got a few questions. I'd like to cover most of them. Parul ma'am is asking, does Shoolini have online courses? Absolutely, ma'am. We started this journey 5 years back. So we're very, very involved in this. So separately, I'll leave my some contact details with you, so you can reach out to me if you're interested. Anjan ma'am is asking how to overcome challenges to become happy and successful. That's for you, Vivek.
Yeah, so challenges are a part of life, ma'am. Challenges, there's no life without challenges. Human lives are full of ups and downs. So we have to take them in a stride and actually learn from them. As we said, challenges actually come to inspire us. And without a challenging assignment ahead or task, the challenge of making a difficult student into an outstanding student, for example, if you can, that is the satisfaction which a teacher will get. From no other thing can that satisfaction come. So take it as a challenge and make that very destructive student into a very creative, positive, and achieving kind of student. That is the challenge.
Sukhnandan ma'am is asking, what skills are required for a teacher in the present scenario? If you allow me, Vivek, I want to pick this up. Sukhnandan ma'am, the world, I think, is going to change. Knowledge is there at the press of a button. So the role of a teacher is dramatically going to change. That's what Prem Kumar sir was mentioning. There was a time when teachers were teaching and they were making people learn, but all of that is there on the internet. I think the role of a teacher will be about creativity. It's about inspiration and making ordinary people extraordinary. I think that's where, if you can focus your skills on the softer side of it, those will be more critical than just being a great maths teacher, if that's what you were doing earlier. Also, I think online is there to stay. So being familiar and comfortable with technology, you're all actors now. We're all speaking to camera. Your audience might be beyond the students and the nana nanis and the dada dadis. So you all have to become great actors and great teachers. And who knows, you might have 2 million views on your talks like Vivek has. Okay, Dinesh sir is asking how to motivate students in this particular phase of online teaching. Vivek, you do a lot of that. Over to you.
It's a tough task, but ask them to read books, watch videos. You can watch some TEDx videos yourself and then recommend them to students. They like doing that. We have to come to their mindset if we want to motivate them, and tell them stories from sports, as I shared. Also, some inspiring videos, books, stories, anecdotes. There are so many stories which you can tell them, which they will be captivated by, and they will remember, and they will be inspired by them. So think about those also.
So, Vivek, yeah, please go ahead, Prem sir.
Yeah, so one of the, what Vivek has said is absolutely fine, but I have personally seen when a teacher starts engaging with the child on one-to-one, which you mentioned earlier, I think that is opening the mind of the person. And if you facilitate that kind of thought, the moment all of us are familiar with Hawthorne studies, the moment a child sees he is being engaged, he starts getting internal motivation to do better things. I think that engagement itself is very, very mind-opening or very catalyzing.
Absolutely. Absolutely right.
So, Vivek, Prem sir, Vandana ma'am, we are coming to an end. We've had a beautiful 1 hour. Lots and lots of questions. I'm sorry we won't be able to answer all of them, but I'll just like to mention the names. We've got Dinesh sir, Nidhi ma'am, Garima ma'am, Amita ma'am, Simple ma'am, Amandeep ma'am, Pratibha ma'am. All of you have asked questions. We'll probably get back to you over email, Vivek and I, but you've been a wonderful audience. Just shows the quality of your school, Vandana ma'am. Vivek and I do these all the time. I can tell you that, energy that comes from even these Q&As becomes very, very important for speakers, even in the online space. So thank you for making this such a wonderful, wonderful discussion. I would like to end, which I always do, by asking each one of my panelists to give their last words, but the rule is you only allowed one sentence. So Vivek, your one last sentence, and then Prem sir and Vandana ma'am.
So teachers and ladies and gentlemen, stay positive, stay calm, and stay connected. And connected means LinkedIn, Instagram. Send your questions to me anywhere you like. And Shoolini University's website is also there. Stay connected.
Prem sir.
Yeah, there's an endless world of possibilities. You just have to open yourself to the world of possibilities. Thank you.
Vandana ma'am.
Yeah, I'm a panelist as well as the host. So that is why I just want to convey my thanks to you, and just want to say I'm feeling blessed that my team could attend this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vandana ma'am. I would
and one
also...
of my teachers, if she would like to thank you, is it possible? Just a minute.
It's not.
Charanjit,
it's not. Charanjit, Kamal, can you get Charanjit
are you
onto...
there?
She'll be there. She'll have to be upgraded. So Kamal, can you get Charanjit ma'am onto the panel, please? Kamal? Let's see. Kamal is there? He's not there.
So not there? Okay, then it's okay.
Sorry, apologies. I'm not the host over here right now, so I won't be able to upgrade Charanjit ma'am. But thank you once again, teachers. Thank you, Prem sir, Vandana ma'am, Vivek. I'm going back very excited. Normally, webinars are energy draining. This one was energy giving to me, and I'm so thankful to all of you for something so wonderful. My last thoughts are, there's a beautiful movie that came, which is called The Lion King. And there was a song in Lion King, which was Hakuna Matata, don't worry, be happy. So those would be my thoughts to all the teachers. Corona will go away. We'll all be happy very soon. Don't worry too much about it. Thank you once again very much. I so wish Corona wasn't there and Vivek and I were there in person talking to all of you.
Yeah.
I know that apart from my Dada's house, I also have another home in Ludhiana. So I'm going to come to Ludhiana, ma'am, Prem sir, and Vivek and I would love to take a session at your school.
वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी.
वो जरूर आएगी. वो सुबह जरूर आएगी और साहिर भी आएंगे हमारे पास. आप लुधियानवी हैं.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Vivek and Atul.
Thank you. Very nice meeting you.
Catching up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Do visit Shoolini and Shoolini.
Wonderful questions. Great teachers.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.